Gio says we have this clip of Mika Brzezinski.
Yeah, no, let's roll the clip of
that he says is actually pretty good with Buttigieg, putting his little feet to the fire. Let's hear this, G. Roll it.
Mr. Secretary, Pete, what then is the explanation for the labor shortage? Why are people not going back to work? Why are we seeing, countless businesses without employees that want to come to work?
Yeah, look, this issue is real. Talk to, certainly any small business owner, and we're seeing it a lot in the transportation sector. For example, when you see those ships that are at anchor in the port, some of those issues actually might have to do with the availability of truckers 1,000 miles inland. Now, there are a lot of things contributing to this. One of them is childcare, of course, which is why the president's Build Back Better vision is going to be good for the labor market. Also, some of these professions, frankly, just need to be a better job. I mean, if you look at transportation and warehousing compensation in real terms, it is way down from where it was a generation ago. And that helps to explain why, with trucking, for example, at the biggest employers, the annual turnover rate, think about this, the annual turnover rate for truck drivers is 90%. That's a sign of some real issues with the quality of the job, and we've got to work on that too.
Okay, so you've brought the explanation down to one job, trucking, and the quality of the life, the quality of that job. But we have companies across America that are offering people $15, $20 an hour. They're offering health care for the first time in businesses where they have 17-year-olds doing the job because they can't get adults to come to work. So, before COVID, before Biden, there was a problem with child care, and people still went to work. We are in a very different place right now, and I need to understand the explanation for that. Is it the checks that many argue that keep Americans from wanting to go back to work? What exactly do you mean when you say people want a better job? Because right now, anybody in America can go and try and get a service, and there'll be a company or a business that doesn't have someone working there to help them.
So, a lot of people did blame the checks, but as we saw, when the checks ended, this issue continued. So we know that it goes deeper than that. And I do think it has to do with some of these other concerns. Yes, the child care issue is not new, but it is a greater crunch than ever, even compared to a year or two ago, which is why it's so important for us to support child care. I mean, again, I think the underappreciated dimension of the Build Back Better agenda, what I call part two of the big deal, part one being the transportation and infrastructure bill we just passed. Part of that is that's actually going to ease these labor market pressures. And it's not just us in the administration saying it. A lot of very respected economists have pointed to that same effect and how it could also help with inflation. Look, we're clearly going through some deep transformations in what it means to be a worker and what it means to be a customer in this country. Those transformations can end up in a very good place for American workers, but we've got to get through this period by making it easier for people to be able to return to them.
No answer.
Secretary Pete Buttigieg, I still don't understand the problem that's happening right now. I mean, if you're telling me that Build Back Better will bring people back to work because of much needed and long needed issues like child care and pre-K, that still doesn't explain why people aren't coming to work today, especially when companies are trying to raise their salaries as much as possible.
Do you have a lobotomy or something?
We have the prices of goods going up. It's more expensive to live.
Yeah.
Why aren't people coming back to work right now? Why are we in this crisis where, whether it's sitting on a plane for 4 hours to wait for a fuel truck driver, or walking into a store that has no workers in it, or going to a gas station that doesn't have someone to pump the gas?
Well, again, I would not ignore the issue of child care. I would not ignore the issue of safety.
What? There again.
3 times.
Well, he's a dad now.
Good for.
So it's very important to him. It's in here in his heart.
That's as much as anyone's going to get pressed from Mika Brzezinski on Morning Joe. That's as much as anyone's going to get pressed, especially Pete Buttigieg. So good for her for at least going that far.
You mean for at least pretending to be a journalist for a minute?
Yeah, well, I wish she had pushed him a little hard and not let him blabber on for so long with saying nothing. At least a second time. He gave the same answer 3 times. Just
see how proud he was of himself when he started? He was all smug and like, oh, I nailed my pitch.
Yeah,
And
you
then
notice,
she came at him, and he was just like,
you notice he says a big deal. You know,
say, oh,
you
you're
know-
attacking me?
Where's the vice president? Get the plan.
I challenge you to a duel.